Hi, everybody. This is Sandy with Chronic Pain Stinks. And oh my goodness, so much has happened since I put out that first video. Um, and I am determined to continue the videos. It's just, I don't know. I went and spent a week at my daughter's in Gillette, Wyoming. Uh, Enjoyed myself. It was very peaceful, very quiet. I had a lot of alone time that I needed. And I just I just relaxed. It was so peaceful and quiet. They live like out kind of, I think it's like 20 miles out of town where they live. So it's a little bit of a drive to go to town. So when they're in town, they get everything that they need. You know, my daughter has, like, she makes this menu and a grocery list of stuff to fit the menu, and she sticks to that, no deviating. So it was kind of interesting. My hair is like needs to be cut, and it's a pain, man. Pain. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is acute pain versus chronic pain. I have my notes I'm looking at, so you'll notice I look away because I'm looking at the notebook. Acute pain versus chronic pain. So let me start by saying that pain itself is a sign that something has happened, something within your body has happened, and that something is wrong. It's not quite right, or it's not the same as it had been. And acute pain happens quickly. Um, it goes away when the cause, whatever was causing the pain, has healed and your condition heals. So therefore, then the acute pain will go away. Now, chronic pain lasts longer. It's a pain that lasts longer than 6 months and continues when your injury or the illness has healed and left you, but yet you still have pain. So I was just like, on the internet, looking through the internet, trying to get some information about chronic pain. And I came across a very interesting website. It listed 21 ways to cope with pain. Now, there's a lot of different websites that, I mean, if you just Googled chronic pain, there is a lot of different websites out there and a lot of different theories, a lot of different ways you can deal with your pain. And the key here is that you need to find what works for you. Because what works for me, what works for me will not necessarily work for you. We're all made differently. We every one of us every one of us has our own unique way that we deal with things. And when I say things, that includes chronic pain. Uh, an example, you break your arm, you have pain, and whatever other signs or symptoms could go with a broken arm. You go to the doctor, they give you an x-ray, they say, yes, your bone's broken, and they put you in a cast. And you're in a cast for, what is it, 4 to 6, 6 to 8 months? I don't know. And till they're sure that you know that your body's healed. They take other x-rays just to make sure that that bone is healed before they take your cast off, or before they tell you you can actually use that again. And when that bone heals and your pain has already probably subsided, or you've gotten used to the pain before that bone's healed and you get the cast off. Well, with chronic pain, you don't have that, well, this is what's wrong and it's going to heal and then I'll feel all better and the pain will be gone. No, chronic pain doesn't work that way. Chronic pain stays. And I have battled chronic pain, oh my gosh, 15, between 15, 20 years. Um, Started in my lower back, progressed, and then as I got older, the pain got older, and the chronic pain like really set in, where I was having very few pain-free days, and looking for the reason. What's causing this pain to stick around, you know? Most of it was in my lower back. Um, I've had 2 back surgeries. The second surgery was to fix the first surgery where it failed, and then that second surgery failed, and then I said, "No more. I will deal with this the best way I know how." And these surgeries left me in chronic pain. So that leaves me having to figure out in my head how I'm going to deal with this. Sure, you know, they throw the pain pills at you. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. You know, they tell you, you know, to take these pain pills and that will help to reduce your pain. Take Tylenol or take ibuprofen and all that will help to reduce your pain. Now, yes, it will. They work. I'm not saying they don't. It's just that, like for me, for instance, I can take Tylenol, and Tylenol will, you know, relieve or take the edge off that chronic pain. Um, a lot of pain pills, you have to be very careful. Uh, if you take too much Tylenol, you can really hurt your liver. So you need to be careful about it and realize that the pain medicine, a lot of pain medicines like hydrocodone or oxycodone, or I don't know, there's several other ones that I didn't make a list or I didn't write in my notes about, you know, the different names of the pain medicines. But a lot of them have Tylenol in them. They have some that have ibuprofen in them, which ibuprofen is very good at reduce the swelling, where Tylenol is better with the pain. Now, when I remember when they first came out with ibuprofen, or Advil was the name brand, and it was so good with headaches. I used to get really bad headaches, and I'd get these headaches, and then I'd take an ibuprofen, and the headache would be gone. It would go away. And these are headaches I get were crippling, like migraine headaches. And of course, the doctor has a list of do's and don'ts for you. But again, you know your own body, and you have to figure a lot of it out. Do your research before you start taking any kind of pain medicine. Do your research, because there is a lot that you can learn about the pain medications and the over-the-counter pain medications such as Tylenol, ibuprofen. There's a lot to learn about them if you just take a little bit and, you know, say Google pain meds, and a lot of information will come up. Be specific. Talk to your doctor. Like I have appointments with my pain specialist every 3 months. I can also remember the time when there wasn't any pain specialist. You know, the doctors or your family doctor took care of, you know, your pain issues. And my family doctor was no different. He very much would have taken care of my pain issues. However, times had changed, and opioids had became dangerous, or could be dangerous if you take them too many, or you know, you take more than what's prescribed. And they have came out with a new drug. Well, it's been on the market for a while. That say somebody takes too many of their pain medications, and they get sick because of it. They do have a medication now called Narcan that they can administer, and it reverses the opioid effect. So, you know, if that's a concern of yours, if you know, honestly, I would recommend anybody with chronic pain and taking pain medication to talk with your doctor about how easy or I shouldn't say easy, but it is, a lot of people have would have a tendency where they would take too much. Like, I still had, when I first started on the journey after my surgeries with my back, my daughter was still living at home, and I would take out, like a couple days of my pain meds and put them in my little, Monday through Friday or whatever dispenser thing I have, and then I would lock the others up. Not because I was worried about my daughter, because, my daughter was pretty straightforward, and that was not anything we had to worry about with her in her teenage years. But my worry came from, uh, what if she brought a friend over and she didn't know, or whatever, this friend that well, and the friend ends up having a problem with drugs, and it's, pretty easy that if there's a parent that, say the parent has had a bad injury and the doctor gave them pain meds and they put them in the medicine cabinet. Well, that's pretty easy access for, teenagers or young adults to take. And then they're pressured, they have pressure at school, just like, adults have the pressure at work. And at one time in the 1990s, that was a real, real big issue. And I just got into the habit with mine that I fill up my Monday through Friday or my Monday through Sunday pill box, and then the rest of them are locked up. And now I still do it today, even though the only people that I live with is my husband and my sister-in-law. And yes, I have two beautiful granddaughters, and they would come stay with me from time to time. But I always made sure when either of them came, that I always put my medications, you know, away, up high or whatever, or I locked them up, whatever I had to do. And I'm talking, my oldest granddaughter's in first grade and the little one's in preschool. So they're little, they're young. They don't know. But the pill box is something they could be curious about. So, and my husband is a heart patient, and so he has taken medication, for his heart and other things associated with his heart. And we've just got in the habit of, when my granddaughters are coming over, we just got in the habit of making sure that our medications uh, are out of reach for their little hands. And again, they don't really even understand the concept of, we have to take this medication every day, that type of thing. So we just make sure that they're not even there. The pill boxes are put away so they can't see them and be curious, you know. And that's just something that when you're on a pain medication, um, or other types of medications that, are controlled, that's just a smart move. You just have to take care of that no matter what. I mean, even like I said, I do it today, even though my granddaughters don't live in Cheyenne anymore, and it's just my husband, I, and my sister-in-law that are in the house. Um, if my granddaughters are going to come from out of town, and I know at that point, to make sure that I have them all put away. Safeguarding your medication. That's the most important thing that you can do. And then, of course, taking your medication the way the doctor has told you, to relieve that pain, or at least take the edge off the pain. Um, if your medication is not taking the edge off, and you feel like you're just taking the medication and not getting any results, then you need to talk to your pain specialist about that. It never hurts to take a piece of paper or a notebook and your pen and make a list of questions that you have. Like I said, I see my pain specialist every 3 months. So within that 3-month time frame, I could have questions that pop up about, well, my way of life has changed, or this has happened, or that has happened, and I just need help with this as far as being able to control the pain. And that's what your pain specialist is there for. They're there to make sure that the medication that they prescribe is what's best for you as an individual to take care of your pain, not to take care of the neighbor's pain or your friend's pain, or any family member's pain. That those pain specialists are there to help you manage your pain. Okay, so enough lectures. We had some interesting things happen that I just kind of wanted to share because when you talk about pain and you talk about chronic pain, you're talking about a way of life. And like I mentioned before, uh, my husband and I and my sister-in-law live in our house, and most of the time we don't really have visitors, or I mean, we do, don't get me wrong. I mean, we have company come over, or we have a dinner planned with friends, that type of thing. But on every day-to-day basis, it's just the three of us here. um we have the typical, what would you say, maybe 3 bedroom 2 bath house. um I went and spent a week in Gillette, Wyoming with my daughter and my uh her significant other and my 2 granddaughters, and they had just moved like out in the country, and it was so quiet and so peaceful and so easy to get you it's just easy to reset. It's like hitting that reset button. But while I was gone, I live on a very busy street, and the street I live in, you can drive it and like follow it around, and it like goes around to the north side of town. I live on the south side of town. Goes around to the north side of the town, and it's just a main street, and it's busy. Well, we've had, oh, I don't know, a couple wrecks that had happened close by. One hit the neighborhood mailbox. The road going to where our driveway is, and the back, the house is where we drive on to get to our house, is gravel or dirt road. And we are the first house on that street, and we face that busy street. Our front part of our house faces that busy street. Well, while I was gone, and this happened about 11:30, quarter to 12, somewhere in there, at night, um, I got a phone call from my neighbor. And now I'm out of town, so I don't know what's going on. And she asked me if we were all okay. And I said, yeah, this is quarter to 11. I mean, quarter to 12 at night, and she woke me up from a sound sleep. And so it was confusing at first. And she has always been the kind of neighbor that keeps her eye out, that watches. And anyway, she said that she had heard a series of gunshots, and that she believed that our house might have gotten hit, and she wanted to make sure we were okay, that she'd already called the sheriff. Well, immediately, I just told her, I'll call you back, and I hung up. And I called my husband, and the phone rang several times, and then he picked up, and he was sound asleep. You can tell he'd been sound asleep. And he said he didn't hear anything. And again, we live on a very busy street. There's a lot of traffic noise. There's, a lot of noises that go with living on a busy street. So I didn't think anything more of it. He was okay. My sister-in-law was okay. That was the important part. And it's midnight, so I was going to just say, okay, I'll deal with it tomorrow. So I did. Went back to sleep. Woke up to my husband calling me. He had to go to work that day. And he called me like 5 in the morning. And he told me that he had gotten up and, gone into the bathroom to, get ready for work. And there was a bullet on the floor. Well, naturally, he picked it up and put it on the counter or whatever, called the sheriff. And then my sister in law got up and she went to use the other bathroom. And that's like a laundry room area. And the washer and dryer are there. And on top of the washer was a bullet. And of course, we have a couple holes now in our house and some things with cabinets and the wood that we're going to have to fix. But it was pretty darn scary. And we don't know the story. We'll never know the story of what happened, if it was somebody shooting at another car or if they were just, young and dumb and just stuck a gun out the window and shot. I know our house took 2 bullets, going all the way, from the outside, the siding on the outside of the house, all the way into whatever had stopped it in the house. Luckily, very, very luckily, nobody was in the line of that fire. We got the police report back, and it says that, the case is inactive, because nobody saw anything. Nobody saw the car. Nobody saw, no one had a description of anybody. So, and my camera, like all my neighbors, we just don't have our cameras pointed to that street, because if we did, our notification would go off like every time a car went by. So, my camera that I have in the back of my house captured a flash. It was a reflection, like on my camper, where I my camper at, and you could see like the flash, which was probably, the where the bullet went into the west side of our house. We had the west side hit and the east side of the house hit. But it was scary. And the moral to this story actually is, it makes you think. It makes you realize how precious life is, and how, even living in chronic pain, how we have the best life that we have, that we make it. That I'm sure that every one of you guys, when you were told you had chronic pain, I'm sure that there was an adjustment period to everyone, to say, oh geez, number one, I got to manage this pain. And number two, I want to make sure I research the medications they want me to manage the pain with. And is there any over-the-counter solutions, or exercising, or any of that, stretches, any of that kind of solutions that could help your pain? So, I don't want to make this any longer than it is. I'm about at 23 minutes. But I want you all to take time in the next week, or, 4 or 5 days, to think about your pain, and think about the chronic part of the pain, and how do you deal with it. And then, write some down in the comments, and let me know. And like, this is Friday night, the weekend's coming up, and I hope every one of you have something planned where, and that if it's an activity where you can relax, or and enjoy maybe being with your kids, or the family, or other people's kids, or just by yourself. Take that little bit of time this weekend and just relax. Tell yourself that you're going to figure out your routine on how to deal with your chronic pain, and then make your plan that you can stick to. And in the meantime, make sure that you have relaxation in there. Because if you don't totally relax, then your pain isn't going to be helped. It's because your body's on guard, trying to make that pain better, or to isolate that pain, which actually probably makes it worse. But everybody's different. So take the time this week and figure out what your techniques are in dealing with the chronic pain. How do you deal with it? we all know pretty much why people have chronic pain. But the big thing is how do you deal with it? And then put some solutions that you have down in the comments. Kind of write the situation and the solution, because I know there's people out there that are watching the video that live with in chronic pain, and one of your suggestions might help the next person. Okay, I want you all to have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will have another video out, try to have another video out next week. Thank you. Bye.